We're here with Vanessa Powers, and you have the film "The Man in the Long Black Coat," right?
Yes,
Got
correct.
it. I got it. All right. So, uh, again, another nice ensemble of people, and it's good to see you back again and have your film. And we're back for another season. So,
Oh yeah, well we love you guys. I mean, it's been a really fun thing to get to screen several things in a row with you. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna have a fun time. So it's gonna be pretty crowded, which is nice.
yeah,
Summertime, good time. It's funny because in the summer in Jersey City, everyone comes down the shore, and we're going back up. So, so,
definitely.
yeah. So, how did you come up with this concept, this idea?
So it's actually inspired by a Bob Dylan song called "The
Oh,
Man in the Long Black Coat." My
okay. Now I got. Yeah,
parents
I got
were
it.
really
Yeah.
big Bob Dylan fans, and I grew up and probably heard it a couple times, and then, way back in the day, somebody burned me a CD with the Joan Osborne cover of this song on it,
Oh,
and it just hit me different, and I got really inspired by that song, and I got all these pictures in my head, and listened to it on repeat about 100 times. And so the first draft of the script I actually wrote about 10 years ago,
wow.
and very instantly knew that we did not have the skills to do it justice at that time. And
Mhm.
so it sort of sat in a folder and sat in a folder and sat in a folder, and then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, I think we could do that now, and then pulled it out of the folder and revised it quite a bit,
Well,
and then and then decided that it was a good time, and that we had the technology that we wanted, and our network of actors had grown quite a bit, and just thought it was a good time, and that we had kind of all the stars aligned to make it happen. So
how do you get all your actors for your films? Is there How do you go about doing that for your short films?
yeah, that's a great question. So I actually also direct a lot of theater.
Okay.
And so a lot of people I like work with on stage and have a good time. And I'm like,
Mhm.
have you ever thought about making a movie?
There you go.
So in that way, I think I get a lot of people who are very talented, but
Mhm.
very new to film. And what I always say is that, like, I feel like there's a level of experience where you're like too green to not be genuine, to
Mhm.
have your performance be contrived in any way, because you literally just don't have the skill to be contrived. And so I really love getting to be somebody's first or second time on film,
Yeah.
and then they learn kind of from my sets and how we do things, and they come back, and so they really learn and are formed by that experience, and continue to be people that we want to work with, because they never had that experience or that training, to maybe get a little artificial, which I think can happen with film actors. So.
Have you seen people from like a long time ago that you got from theater, and then they continue on doing a lot of film, and they're out there?
Oh yeah, I have actually really funny. Like tomorrow, I'm driving to Chicago to see a friend of mine in a play, and like we were like friends in high school. And he's done some film with me. He's done a lot of theater, and like now he's like a professional actor. And we've been acting together, making films together for 17 or 18 years.
Wow.
So yeah. um or some people who do a film with me and just like fall totally in love with it, and they'll go do other people's work. The lead gal in this has done some other stuff, some music videos and stuff like that, and this was her first film. So yeah, I always love being sort of that gateway drug for people,
Yeah.
I guess, to get into film, especially because Minneapolis, where we live, has such a rich community, and there's so many opportunities that all it kind of takes is getting that door open and getting that like one experience to kind of know what you're doing, and then you can really make a lot out of that. So.
Now, I was talking to another director who directs theater and now film as well. And how is it directing the actors on stage versus on camera?
Oh gosh, it's so different.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, people ask me a lot if I have like a favorite between stage and film, and I really don't. I think they're
Mhm.
both really good for different things.
Mhm.
Um, I think, of course, one of the things I love about film is you just have so much control. You can really direct the audience's eye to make them look at like exactly what you want them to look at that time. And on stage, it's much more like their eye might go anywhere, and you have to make sure that like everything is good at all times. So I would just say it's really different. You know, on stage, I think you really get to push people to be big and expressive, and to really like listen to like a live audience and adapt what they're doing each night. It's a little different, you know. And then on film, it's much more controlled and small, and it's you can't really count on like an audience to change what you're doing, and you have to be able to like replicate it pretty similarly over and over again. So I think that like the tool belt, the director tool belt you use for those two things is kind of a different set of tools.
And so when you sit down and you have this whole script, do you try to get them to be like what can I say, like a pilot, or is it just the short film, or are you trying to get a pilot and sell a pilot?
You know, it because it's like 30 minutes long, it's like the length of a pilot.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes, yeah, because I was just actually talking to a director who just made a pilot right before you, so
I do have a pilot script in my like arsenal. I have done a couple web series. I'm definitely not as good at like ongoing storytelling like that. I think that takes a different set of, I don't know, a different brain, a different set of skills, different training, really. It's something I'm interested in, especially, like I said, this script I kind of have in my back pocket. But the length of this project just kind of ended up being that, like, so in their nature, which was here with you guys a couple of years ago now, was a 20-minute film.
It's like, yeah, it was like, I felt like it was just the other, like,
yeah,
the
just
time, it was
yesterday. Was a 20-minute film, and it's a great film. I really love the way it turned out, but I actually cut out more than I wanted to. And I happened to be editing The Man in the Long Black Coat a lot during COVID, and I was kind of going through my In Their Nature like deleted scenes and just like archiving some of those, and I was like, you know, I sort of wish I hadn't deleted as much stuff. And so I made this sort of decision that The Man in the Long Black Coat, I wasn't going to aim for a specific amount of time. I was just going to like let the story be and tell it the way that like I wanted to, and kind of knowing that like for some people it's too long, and that's okay with me. But I really wanted to do one project after really tailoring Nature to be 20 minutes, just at whatever length it ended up. And that, you know, especially since I had learned that there were festivals that are interested in 20 to 40-minute shorts, as well as those 10 to 20-minute, or, you know,
yeah, you just look for the timing and the different types that there are.
Yeah, so I just was like, you know, it's going to be what it's going to be. And then it was 33 minutes, and I was like, well, it's a 33-minute short film.
Absolutely.
So,
but yeah, so we have a lot of films that day, but you know, it's good. So it's gonna, you know, play and hopefully get a nice crowd and everything like that. So we're excited to screen it. So,
and I think, well, lengthwise, it's a contemplation piece. You know, it's because it has some heavy themes. It is about abuse. It is about, and particularly like I'm from a small town. I'm really fascinated by sort of these small town politics of like everybody kind of has this perfect surface, and everybody kind of knows that there's bad stuff going on, and they just don't talk about it. And I think that like zipping through that at a 10-minute pace, like we could tell the same story, but part of the value of the length is that like you do have to sit with that discomfort, and you do have to think about this content that is challenging to you, and you don't just get to like zip through it really quickly. And I think that that's something about the film that's unique. And then of course that it's so beautiful the whole time, right? It's like, yeah, it's sort of like a 30-minute music video, because it's all so visually poetic. So
talking about that, how do you, is it the same cinematographer you've worked with, or different, or how do you go about getting the cinematographer for it?
Yeah, I have somebody I team with pretty often, and actually this one had two cinematographers, Oscar Keys and Tristan Corrigan, and I've worked with both of them really consistently, and they both definitely have their strengths. Tristan is such a tech guy. You know, he knows everything about all the newest technology, and not just in this like tech bro way, but in this way that he really knows what the best tools are to serve the visual style that you're trying to achieve. And then with he's very artistic and has done a lot of film study. He's actually is a an educator himself, so he's very much all up in the intellectual, like subtle ways to change things to make something come through in a certain way. So the cinematography on this was, I think, just a really great blend of their styles, because it is pretty technically difficult and technically sound, but also was shot in this way that's very stylistic and specific. So,
Are you working anything new right now? Are you any filming or writing?
oh gosh, yeah, all the time. So right now we are actually in post production on a feature film that we shot last
Oh,
fall. It's
wow.
a horror film called Sins of the Father, and we are like in the like, we're picture locked and we're in sound and color and music and VFX stage.
Oh,
So
wow.
really like spitting distance on that one. And then because we like took a year off from like making anything except for that,
Mm.
and all of us are crazy, we've got like 4 short films in
Oh, wow.
pre-production. Um, because so Tristan, my friend who's a cinematographer, had a script competition during
Oh,
COVID. And because his job didn't get furloughed, he kept working, and so he was giving away like $50 Amazon gift cards to the winners, and kind of just a way to like encourage art friends to like keep going, which
you
was really
going? Yeah. Well,
sweet. And we just had a couple really exceptional scripts come through that, and we're sort of like, hey, like, what would you think of like if we made your movie? What would you think if we made your movie? And maybe didn't anticipate everybody saying yes at the same time, but everyone was like, hell yeah, let's do it. So
yeah.
so we have a short horror called Tap, that's about like a spirit from beyond communicating with military tap code. We have a period piece called Peanut Butter and Jelly, that I can't really say much about without totally spoiling it. So it's just a very cool piece. And then there's a comedy called No Way Bidet, about these 13-year-old kids at a birthday party, and they discover dad's bidet and are like terrified of it because they can't figure out what it is. And then
Nobody knows what a day is.
nobody knows it, right? It's just this horrifying thing in the toilet that like spits on you. And then Look Back and Laugh, which is like very up my alley. That one's like a drama. But they're all really cool scripts in their own right, and kind of a couple different styles. And we always try to kind of set a goal with each thing that we work on. And so we kind of have a specific thing we want to learn or something we're trying to practice or achieve. So I'm really excited for that, because I definitely get like production itches where like if we don't make something for a certain amount of time, I'm just like, let's
Yeah.
make a movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, totally gearing up for like way too much, but really excited about it.
That's great. So what about all your other stuff from the past and everything? Where can we find any of that? Is there any out there online anywhere?
Yeah, so my website is www.oxford-films.com, and anything that's not like still on the festival circuit, you can find on that website. I have 2 feature films on Amazon. There's links to those there, and then the short films, there's just like a tab that says videos, and our music videos and our short films are under there. There's a lot of things that got like real weird like festival circuit because of COVID. It was like there were a couple things that I entered in 2020, and the festival was like canceled twice. So it's like it was entered in 2020. It's playing now.
Yeah.
So like the end of this year, there's about 3 projects that are all finally going to like go up on the website at the same time, but their like last festival dates are the end of the year. So even in so far back as 2020. So in their nature is like up on the website, but like These Imperfect Gifts is still festival circuiting. So it'll be it'll be like a big influx of videos at the end of the year. But there is a lot of cool stuff up there. So once again, www.oxford-films.com. And then I should give the website for Sins, but I have to look it up because of
Yeah,
sinsofthefotherfilm.com is the website for that horror feature. And like I said, that's like just about done, and it's going to be starting a festival circuit. So
cool.
yeah,
Absolutely. I love the horror films. I love Horror Fest, by the way. I go to so
yeah.
many.
Oh
I,
gosh, well you
I
should
just missed
recommend a
one.
couple.
I
Recommend a
usually
couple good ones.
I usually go to Days of the Dead. They travel different cities, and I
Cool.
just missed it. It was in Indianapolis, and I was supposed to go, but things happened, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
I had to cancel, which I was upset about. But we have one here in New Jersey HorrorCon Film Festival, which is so much fun.
All right. Well, I love that too because like there's such a culture around horror films like that.
Yeah,
It's like in Minneapolis we have like Crypticon, and it's like a whole event. It's
yeah,
not just a film festival. It's all this
yeah. You
other
get like all the
celebration
horror
of
people
horror.
there from like Friday the 13th or
Yeah,
Nightmare on Elm Street actors are hanging out, and you're like, this is pretty cool.
definitely. So we're looking forward to maybe getting to cruise around on some of those circuits a little bit.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies from a long time ago, which it was just weird that it's one of my favorites, but Friday 13th Part 7. I love it.
Part
And
seven. Why
seven,
is part
seven.
seven better than part six?
I don't even know. You know what? I got to sneak into the movie theater as a kid and see the rated R
Oh,
film. I think that was it. And it
for
was,
sure.
it's what's his name? It was like his first, no, his first film was the big actor guy who played the part. I can't even think of his name right now, but it was Jason versus Tina, The New Blood. It was basically like, I don't know, Firestarter or what's her name? That other movie, uh,
Carrie.
Carrie versus Jason. That's what it was.
Oh,
That's what it was. So it was just so funny. And it became a cult thing. So they were the director was there one year, and I went up to him, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm a big fan of the movie. I sat down with him. He talked to me about it. He goes, I wrote a sequel to this 30 years later, Jason versus Tina, all this stuff, and the survivors. And he's like, I want to make it. They don't want to do it. I might do it on my own or whatever. And he signed my poster. I have it in my classroom.
oh my
The
gosh.
next day he died. The
No.
next day,
Wow.
yeah, he like
What?
I was like, are you kidding me? And,
You're like, but the sequel.
yeah, the sequel. I'm like, am I the only one that knows?
Right.
Like, I want to get my hands on this, and I don't know.
Nah.
It was I couldn't believe it. But then and I had met some of the actors after that, and I told them, yeah, I met the director the day before he died. We talked for like an hour. I was so excited, and then that I was like, oh my god, so
Wow.
crazy.
Gosh. That's insane. That's some serendipitous timing.
Yeah, I know, right? And well, at least I got to talk to him. But I probably have his last autograph. It's on the poster in my school. I'm like, that's it. He
Amazing.
didn't sign anymore. That's what I'm saying.
Right. This what yeah, like put on the like label maker last autograph
This
ever.
is it. Yeah, so that's just the crazy horror story. But the things like that happen all the time at those events. It's fun. They're a lot of fun.
Well, I
So
hope I hope to find out.
yeah, that's cool. That's cool stuff. Well, thanks for giving me a few minutes here today. Do you anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, we're not able to make it out. Although I'm like, once we're on like film 5 in there, we're just gonna like make it happen.
Yeah,
So just I hope the festival is like so much fun, and I hope everybody enjoys the film. And I always look forward to hearing about it on Facebook, and yeah, I hope it's great.
awesome. Yeah, and where is it playing next? Yeah, is it this one of the first few screenings for it, or has it been out
Yeah,
there
this is maybe the first festival screening for this one.
or live, like a live?
We did a little friends and family screening like when it was done, just to show everyone who'd worked on it. But it was like private invite only. So this might be the first public screening actually. The next one we just found out we got into the City of Angels Women's Film Festival in LA. So
Oh,
that's really exciting.
yeah,
I have traditionally like my films have done better on the East Coast, so I'm like,
yeah,
okay, maybe this
yeah.
one breaks that curse a little bit. I mean, it's not a curse. I love doing well on the East Coast, but you try to like have universal appeal, and then you're like, well, I just do so well in New York and New Jersey.
It's weird how that happens, right? And then like that
Yeah,
happens to me too. But then all of a sudden, like Texas started taking all the films, so we're like, we love
yeah.
Texas.
Oh my god. Well, the funny thing is that I like traditionally don't get into film festivals in Minnesota, like in my own state. They don't like what I do. So so I love the East Coast love, you know.
There is another group that a comedy troupe guys they always put in. They have another short film from Minnesota. They're like original Jersey guys, but they're out in Minnesota making stuff.
What's their film?
Oh, oh my gosh, I can't remember off the top of my head. But they always do comedies. They're like a comedy sketch group.
That's awesome.
I'll have to send it to you
Yeah,
or
I'd be curious. I'm like, who else
because
is like?
they have some Jersey people, so the Jersey people always come to the fest.
Okay,
So, but
yeah,
they're out in Minnesota. I believe it's Minnesota. I'm pretty sure,
that's
unless they moved
awesome.
around. But I'm pretty sure it's out there. So they're like, yeah, we can't come, but we have people out here in Jersey because they were originally Jersey people. But it is a comedy troupe that makes short comedies.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, if you've noticed, I don't so much with the funny. I like funny movies, but I'm not so funny myself. So that's awesome. I love it. I love a comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so thanks for joining me for a few minutes here, and we finally got to get it on. And
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I'll probably get it out there sometime on Friday because I got some craziness going on the next 2 days.
Sounds great. That's
all good.
awesome. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you, and if you have more interviews tomorrow or whatever, I hope they go great.
Great. All right. Thanks so much.